There is some I think would want to come off, but I don't know if they want to come
Yeah.
off.
All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. The BCCMC Corporation would rise. And I'll ask Ms. Lamb if she would to go ahead and say the invocation.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for our blessings. Thank you for the new volunteers we have here tonight. Thank you for an improved financial position, Lord, and please bless the men in uniform. Please bless everyone here tonight and help us make right decisions.
Amen.
Dear Heavenly Father, please bless this county, our state, and our country. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Mr. McDuff, if you would lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, you would have a seat. All right. First, approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
And I'll
All in
second.
favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and next is approval of the board minutes. Have you had a chance to look through them?
Yes.
Yeah, I just did.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Okay,
And I'll second.
and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, public comments? None. Ms. Roden, financial report.
All right, so page 4. This is the first time you've seen a full, complete year. Last time we met was in September, so September wasn't complete yet. We did end the year much better than budget. We actually ended in the black. Mostly due to the additional ice that we've seen. Their expenses were really close, so there's a few areas that were a little bit lower on expenses, but for the most part, it's just the ice revenue and expenses. That comes in both sides, obviously. And then, as of the date of this, when I put this agenda together, October wasn't complete yet, so that's why I don't have any October financials at this meeting. ICE is still really dragging their feet on approving invoices. So if we're billing October, they spend the majority of the month of November to approve the invoice. And so then we don't see billing until late November and then cash in December. So it just really makes your financials drag. Was there any questions on the 24-25 P&L though?
I didn't, Crystal.
And then the next couple pages, page 5 is September and page 6 is October. I did do October here just because this is cash basis only. So this is just a cash flow statement of what's coming in and what's out. The P&L is accrual base, so it's in the appropriate month. These page 5 and page 6 are cash flow. Just timing of money coming in and money coming out. Not a whole lot to point out here. September looks really low, but that's just because there wasn't any receipts coming in September, but you see that kind of turned around in October. And once you guys start going through these, if you have any questions, I'm always available for reach out. Page 7 is a summary of the cash management account, aka the savings account. So just to refresh our new folks here, we have 3 bank accounts. We have the operating account where everything comes in and out, which jumping back to page 5 or page 6, that's the first column. We have the debt service account, which is literally what it says it is. It only services the debt. So the money, I do a transfer every month to fund that account, and then the loan payment comes out of it. And then the third account is the cash management account, which is like our savings account, which is the one we hope not to touch. But when our operating account is low, it pulls from the cash management account, which is the summary on page 7 is just that savings account. And so you can see in the last column, change from prior month, the months that we've had to pull money out and kind of where that's trending. That's why I provide that summary. And within that summary, column 1, USDA required, that's what the USDA, who facilitates the debt, that's what they require us to have in a savings account. And then the second, well, I guess the third column, general operating, that's any additional money that we would have in that account for a total. And then the last column is just a change from prior month. So we're not supposed to touch the 2 million in the first column, the USDA required column. That's per our debt agreement, that is supposed to sit there. It does say we could use that for emergencies. So if a hurricane came through and we had major repairs at the sheriff's office, we could dip into that money and then we would be required to monthly build that back up.
So does that stay right around 2 million? I mean, is that the target, or can it go over that, or?
The required number, the debt agreement has that amount.
Okay.
The second column, the general operating column, that's the one that fluctuates depending on when we have to pull from it, or if we get into a situation where we could refund it, which we haven't been in quite some time. So the USDA required column, I've just been leaving at that amount because we don't really have anything extra to put toward the debt or anything.
So the debt services account is the loan payment and what other debt?
That's it.
Okay.
It's, I guess technically it's 4 different, the way that it's structured. I don't remember why they did that, it was before my time, but it's 4 different, so it comes out in 4 different payments, but in total it's that 167.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so when BCCMC was formed, the debt that had been taken on by the previous corporation was restructured into 4 USDA loans.
Okay.
And so we treat them all as one big loan, but for the USDA, it's actually 4. So for our accounting purposes, you'll only ever see one number, but she is making 4 separate payments and we
Gotcha.
get 4 separate notes. I don't know why they structured it that way, government stuff, but that 2 million and change that's sitting there now, we did have to replenish that, and that's why you should see in blue skies, that number should always stay the same.
Around 2
We were
million
not in
bucks.
blue skies for a good long time, and you'll notice if you look back for a couple
Yeah,
of years,
yeah.
it was real rough. So for the new guys too, and everybody else is aware of this, but we've actually entered into a memorandum of understanding with the sheriff's office that any additional revenues we realize right now, we're replenishing, right? We're rebuilding reserves. So, and we've done a lot of restructuring. So when you guys see these financials, you should really see a lot of stability, right? You shouldn't see a lot of big fluctuations and
Yep.
things like that. So when you're paying attention, look for that.
Mhm.
And these guys know to look for that. You're looking for those big swings.
Mhm.
And God forbid we see them. We're hoping we're in a good spot now.
Yeah.
And we will be for a couple of years, but that's what you're always looking at.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Now, the debt service isn't paid directly from that account, though. That's just a savings for repairs and things.
Right. Gotcha.
All right, any other questions on the accounts there? Before we move on? All right, and then the last page, page 8, is just a summary of average inmates by month. And that's just some information provided by the sheriff's office that I just kind of keep a summary just for you guys to see where those numbers are trending.
See, on the county, hang up at the 140 and. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay. All right. Do we need a motion to accept the financial report?
I think it'd be
Okay.
appropriate.
Can I get a motion to accept the report as entered?
Motion to accept.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. 24-25 year-end closing. Major Cruise?
welcome, Brian and
Yeah.
Katie. Glad to have y'all.
Glad to be here.
I want to, before we go into that, I just kind of want to bounce off a couple of things that Crystal's brought up. Was one on the drag. Two things that really hampered that was if you remember the first time where they stopped doing invoices based on volume, sheer volume of all of these other places across the country that they entered into contracts with people to hold detainees, put a strain on the same, because they were using the same personnel. I mean, so they didn't have time to boot up personnel that does the invoices. So we saw a big lag from that, but they ended up catching up with that. We got through that phase, and then the shutdown caused the second one. So now it seems like those things are
Good.
moving back through a little bit quicker, but it is the government. So I mean, but those are the two things that really caused the bigger issue on that.
And just to
But I-
clarify, it's never that it doesn't come, it's just, those two situations have just created a lag.
Yeah, well, and for those, yeah, because some of the issues before that was partially workload with Jeffrey. You know, he was a one-man
Sure.
show. So that has been fixed, so it's, anytime now there's a delay, it's gonna be on ice generally. It's not gonna be from issues at the sheriff's office. So those things are getting put out before, probably within 2 weeks of the close of the month. Those invoices are getting reconciled and sent out. So we've picked the pace up on that part, but those are the two main factors that's dealt with that. So we hope to see that kind of fixes itself. She also mentioned the numbers, which is, benefit to the revenue. I will continue to do this every time I talk about numbers, and every time that I talk to you, it's going to basically throw out this idea and understanding that I believe this is a temporary situation we're in. I do not think it's going to be sustainable over a long period of time. But as of now, we are reaping the benefits from that. And again, our count has, like yesterday was the final day of complete day, so you had 285 ICE yesterday. 106 marshals has been up, which has really been a little bit of a surprise. Generally we were looking at around 95 or so is what we were averaging, but they've been hovering in that 100 or a little bit more in areas. So that's been a real positive on that side. And then the county, of course, is still hovering around that 46, 150 area. So I see that those things are being very steady. So at least until we get into renegotiations with ICE in the spring, the extra bodies is going to be a real benefit. And then adding that to it, because our current agreement is up in May, the end of May 30th or something like that. So we expect going into those last quarters of this year to be under a new term with ICE. So a lot of stuff to still deal with and have to go through and really think about and analyze moving forward. It's not like just squatting. We're definitely not taking that approach.
Randy, when will you start consulting with Summerall?
I plan on reaching out to him in January. I've already been looking at it myself. You know this from previously, when you've already done it within a year with marshals, which we did last year, you have a baseline to look at. And so you can actually take that baseline and then kind of pivot it forward to give you some view of to what you may look at. So we've already got our baseline on what we think where things should fall. So I do think it'll be a little bit simpler because of that. And in fact, it was Joe that done those evaluations as well. So
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
think it's going to be a long drawn out process. It's just, what is that going to end up being like when we actually open our discussions with ICE.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see, so, the other things before I get into the closeout, I wanted to make sure that I told you, so, when we did our budget thing this year, our budget discussions, and you approved the budget, two of the main points that we felt like we really needed to address because of our staffing issues, especially with the additional bodies that we have in there. We asked you for an increase in the starting salary to $50,000. And then we implemented a retention pay plan. And I wanted to make sure that I came in here and let you know that that budget, of course, started October 1st, but for the first time in probably 3 to 4 years, we only have 3 openings, right? Just that fast. And y'all know we was looking at
That's great.
double-digit openings. Also, we haven't lost anybody that just left to go to another job or staying. Retention pay. So I know at least the administrative staff in the detention center has continued to, every time I talk to them, we have our administrative meetings, they continue to talk about how much difference that's made. And not only that, some of those positions are filled with people who have experience. We have a mix. Some were people who came in who we are sending to school, which you have a mix, but then we have some that have many years of service that's left jobs that were in the field and come to work with us because it was able to get them to pay. So that experience really helps because now you get somebody with experience as well. So it opened up the door with the $50,000 starting pay, and then the retention pay with the tiers based on their years of service has really, really benefited that operation back there. Like I said, with just 3 openings, I can't remember the last time we've only had 3 spots open. So
Can't believe it happened that fast.
that fast, yeah.
Yeah.
And we do have one retiring, they told me about. But I know we just had another one on board this morning, and they actually they experienced enough that they fit in the last tier, the very last tier. So you're getting somebody with over a decade of experience there. So I did not want to not come over here and tell you how much they really appreciate that, and the fact that it is something that's been very, very beneficial to the operation, especially when you got those additional bodies in there, and we're having to deal with that as well. So I appreciate it, and they certainly appreciate it.
It's awesome news.
Let me see. I had a couple of notes here. Okay, so the closeout. So as we had talked about, and I know I've mentioned this to some of y'all in our private conversations, even when we were doing the budget, about how this year was going to end up. We felt like that we would end up with a surplus of non-expended funds, and we did, but it wasn't as much as we could have. But the reason that is because of the expenses that came about that were not budgeted. In other words, we all have talked about the $155,000 lightning strike that insurance wouldn't cover, that knocked out all the cameras. So replacing those cameras alone was $155,000, which I did not come back to the board and ask you to go into reserves and adjust our budget to fund that. We were able to fund that within the same budget that you passed the previous year. But on top of that, to get those things implemented with the labor and the cables that had to be rerun, because they had to run all, the other ones were analog, these are digital, so you had to go in and do a lot of cable stuff. So you were looking at another $60,000 on top of that, running cables through that whole building on some of those places where those cameras got knocked out, because that's a big building, so those cables had to run quite a distance. And I had mentioned that we had a steamer go out that was not budgeted, so it broke, so that was about $41,000. And then we had a hot water heater that exploded, and I don't mean it by fire, I meant water, so it let its water go, and that was about $30,000. So those are just some of the things that were not budgeted that typically I would come back, ask you for a budget adjustment to fix those things, and then we would fix them, but we didn't have to do none of that. So, we're gonna give you back, $25,000, and I'll give this check to Crystal over here.
Thank you.
But we give you back $25,000, and I still think that based on the circumstances and the things that really happened out there, with those maintenance and repairs, things that we had to deal with that were unexpected, I still think it put us in a very good spot, not having to come back and ask you to again go into your reserves. So, I'm proud of how that worked out. I wish we didn't have those issues that were there, because you would have gotten a big significant portion back. So what I hope happens is in this fiscal year here, that none of those things happen, and I think that you will be able to do some adjustments with your reserves and put back, like Joel had mentioned, because that's been our topic of conversation related to the additional revenue you're seeing with the additional bodies that we're having. I mean, like I said, when we did our budget, we're talking about 41 more, and then hoping to get an adjustment on an increase with ICE. And just how important it is that we've been very lucky that we have managed to slip through the volume issue with the invoices that we were dealing with ICE, and not have to have an issue with being able to pull funds in. And then also, which is right behind that, was the shutdown. So we managed to squeak out of that pretty good too. So all in all, we're on track. As far as into next year, when I think that we should come back together again, I don't think that we will need to do anything until we get into a budget year, which is probably, if we're going to do a workshop, it would be somewhere around May. The budget will be due in June. But I will keep you posted. I don't think we need to have a meeting. There's nothing you really need to approve as it relates to the negotiations, since we already budgeted, Joe. That's already there, so there's no need to have a meeting for that. So I'll either call Crystal and y'all and give you an update on the individually on the negotiations and how that goes. And then if you decide you want to have a meeting to do anything on that, then we can do it there. Other than that, I think it'll be budget time before we need to get back together, unless something happens that we can't control. So other than that, I don't have anything else.
Well, thank you for
Thank you.
watching those expenses so
Absolutely.
closely. We appreciate that. There is one more thing that I forgot to add to the agenda, and it's the gift cards that we do every year for the employees. We give them
We spoke about, Crystal spoke about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's on my list. So we got a little slap on the wrist from our accountants for doing that, from our CPA, because it's, let me think. I mean, we're not for profit, so it's not deductible, but then the employee's not paying any tax on it, right? So
Oh.
there's like a no tax situation there. So it needs to be a decision if we want to continue to do that or not. Your CPA says we were doing $30 a person, is it worth it? From a personnel perspective, I'm kind of like, if they appreciate it, then I say it's worth it. But that's going to be a board decision on what you guys think. So what we've typically done the last few years, we've done a $30 gift card to every employee of the corrections side at the sheriff's office.
How many employees are we talking?
It's usually about,
We'd have to get it on probably close to 80,
it's usually about $2,200 to
Yes.
$2,300.
Okay.
probably close to 80.
Crystal, wasn't there a recommendation as to the best way to do that?
Yeah, they said to go through payroll, so it goes on the employee's W-2.
Oh, gosh.
But that kind of takes away, in my opinion, it takes
Gesture.
away
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
gesture of the gift.
And make it a
Yeah.
cash bonus instead of a gift card too.
Correct.
Which, again, less of a gift at that point.
Correct, because then they're paying tax on that $30.
So we're waiting.
Well, we're not for profit, so we don't really pay tax in that sense, yeah.
If it goes through payroll.
It goes through payroll, so that
Then it would
the,
be.
well, yeah, I guess the sheriff's office would be, because
Yeah,
it would
that
have to go
would.
through the sheriff's office payroll, so there would be, we would need to fund the employer portion of the tax on that, and if there was 401k or whatever.
Yeah, usually when something like that happens, it's above the $30, because what happens is they end up paying what that portion the employee would pay, and then what the
Oh, yeah.
employer would
Yeah.
pay. So it's kind of a little bit of a difficult situation to do it that way.
One time we done a cookout for them too, didn't we?
Yeah, I think early on.
One time we done a cookout for them, like steaks and all that or
Yes,
something.
yes, that, yeah.
But
What
then
we-
that takes sheriff's office manpower
Right.
to make that happen.
Right.
What about like buying them a turkey or, you know?
I think it's the same.
Same.
Yeah, that's why we went to the gift card, because one, it's easier,
Yeah.
and we go through First Federal where our banking is, so we have very minimal fees. It's way cheaper for me to get a gift card through them. I think, I'd have to look back, but if you go buy a Visa gift card at Walmart, you're paying $5 activation fee. I wanna say it was like $2 or something at First Federal fee, maybe even less than that, maybe like $1.50 a card. So anyway, I order it from them and pick it up from them and deliver them to the sheriff's office, so we have minimal fees on that, and it's just easier, because then you just have a Visa gift card that the individual can use for whatever they want.
Well, I had forgotten about the issue, but
Kind of on the clock for it too,
yeah.
if we're gonna do it for Christmas.
It's kind of the pleasure of the board, which way y'all
Yeah.
wanna go on that.
Well, I don't want to cause problems from an audit perspective, since we've already been warned about it, but I still would like to do something. I don't really have any other ideas.
And
that
as
would
a
be
timing
doable.
situation this year, maybe we could move forward the way we have done it, and then be thinking about other options for next year, or have another conversation with Lines and Lines and see just how big of a deal
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it. You know what I mean? It's $2,000.
And I think that's another, I mean, there's no issue with transparency,
No.
there's no issue with whether or not you know what you're doing. You know, it's sort of like when I give legal advice, you don't always have to take it. And the CPA's done their job,
Right.
they've told you where there's an irregularity, but I mean, if there's not a way to navigate this buoy, you may have to just take the slap on the wrist again and try to come up with a better strategy for next year.
What we do in my job is when we give gift cards out that are over the IRS $25, that's all you can give. We keep them separate, but we're a for-profit company. So we just don't deduct. I keep up with what we spend on like something like an employee gift card, and we just don't deduct it, so we're not, it's not a deductible expense, so we're fully paying tax, you know, on that. But in our situation here, we're not for profit, so that's not really an option. But again, it was just mentioned from Lines and Lines, so I did want to bring it up. It wasn't a, you absolutely cannot do this, you're gonna get in trouble kind of thing. It was just a comment.
It's a ding.
Yeah.
Is it the issue because they're Visa gift cards that
No.
are, because they're just more like cash, or, so even if it was just for a particular restaurant or something?
Correct.
Okay.
No, it doesn't matter what it would be.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah,
Anything of value.
yeah,
Right.
anything of value. And honestly, a
That's a
turkey's
shame.
the same situation, right?
Yeah, I
Wasn't
guess
there a
it
big
would be.
You
court
wouldn't have
case
the
about
payroll,
that? Yeah.
you wouldn't have the payroll tax on it.
Yeah.
but Even still, turkeys are a lot cheaper than the $30, but.
And we have the money to do it. I definitely recommend we should do it. I don't think we
Yeah, I
need to go
think we
lower
should
than
do
30,
something.
that's
Oh,
not.
yeah, we need to do something.
Yeah, I mean, the major just talked about retention and things are good and morale's good. We
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
don't want to
No, that's right.
give them one hand, take out the other.
And we've been doing 30 for a long time, and I know 30's not a lot, but it does add up quick, but that's another conversation. If we're gonna do it, do we wanna stick to 30? Does it need to increase, you know?
Are they, you know, I like the turkey idea. Giving them a turkey. Do they get turkeys?
We don't give them turkey.
Okay. I didn't know if y'all give them turkeys or,
I mean, logistically, I don't know how quickly I can get 100 turkeys, but, or
That's a lot of turkey.
where to do that from, but.
Load them in the back of your car.
Yeah.
I can check into that.
But they could use their money to buy a turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if you want to do the
Yeah.
coupon or
The
something.
gift card,
Visa card.
they can use it for whatever. You can
That's
use
true.
it for groceries,
That's
you can
true.
use it for Christmas gift, you can use it for eating out, you know, a treat, whatever.
Just something to consider, and, anything that runs through our payroll is gonna have to deal with not just taxes and their taxes, but it's also gonna deal with FRS.
Yes.
So you got those three components to do. I'm not sure that if you did something that you would, attach it to the manager management fee. And then if you were gonna go and designate that portion of the management fee, you can allocate it for what you want it to be allocated for, and then if it's gonna be where you either provide us some kind of cookout dinner or whatever, or whatever, then we would have to take care of the person, but it wouldn't be in personnel services, it would be in the management fee.
But when you pay the employee, it would still be,
We wouldn't do, that's what I'm saying, I thought he was talking about like going and actually physically buying an
Yeah, or feeding them or
It would be
whatever.
The best way, if you're gonna do something like that, you're running it through the management fee would be a better way than running it through the normal budget.
and if we
process.
try to,
It's going to be around 42%.
I was gonna say, it's gonna cost us a lot more than $2 a gift card
It's
if
about
we go
42%.
through payroll, cause we're gonna have to pay, well, the employer tax. Honestly, we need to gross it up so the employee gets the intended receipt, so you know what I mean? And then you've got any type of retirement on top of that.
Wow.
Plus the
Gets complicated.
administration fee of the sheriff's office for doing that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it kinda makes sense to stick to the gift card route from an accounting perspective.
The burden rate would be 42.84%.
I just told him that
Yeah, we
Well, it's, the FRS is
Yeah.
35.19 plus 7.6505%.
Yeah.
What it is.
Uh-huh.
number. Good job.
Juice wouldn't be worth the squeeze.
That's it. I don't think so either. I mean, if we were talking about $1,000 a pop, then yeah, I think we would do something like that. But for something small, it's way more work than it's worth.
I'll make a motion to stick with the gift cards.
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
How much?
$30 is what we did last year, wasn't
Stick to that?
it? Yeah.
What if we upped it to 50? What would the dollar amount look like? That makes it a little more.
About $6,000.
What do we say, 80 people?
About, yeah, we'll get you the exact number, but I think that's a good number to figure.
So that's about $1,600 more.
So $3,800.
Mhm.
I know. I'm fine with
Everything-
whatever the
everything's
board
gonna cost
We've been through
decides.
such
I
hard
agree, I
times.
mean,
I know.
I
It's
agree,
hard to do.
it's,
It's-
$30 don't go very far.
Mm-mm.
One of my kids eats that when we go out to eat, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you can't go out to eat for $30 or less. I'm fine with 50.
I am too. Let's do
All right,
it.
let's do it. I agree.
I'll email you the number.
Give me a count fairly quickly and I'll get those orders so we can get them turned around. Cause it usually takes the bank, a few days, several days to get that many on hand. All right,
Okay.
are we in the board comment section?
Did
Whenever
we
you,
vote? I guess we did, didn't we?
You did vote, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So,
propose next meeting, I guess we hadn't went through that.
well, based on Randy's comments, I think we need to wait unless you guys have any other thoughts on that. I don't anticipate anything coming up, so for our new guys, we
Yeah.
typically don't have a lot going on this time in the spring time. So I think in 2025, this is our fourth meeting. So we tend to meet a couple times during summer because that's budget time. And then we'll have a follow-up meeting in the fall, and then our closeout meeting at the end of the year is what we've been doing. Now, obviously, when there's issues or if there's something going on at the sheriff's office where they need a request from the budget, we'll have a meeting for that.
Sure.
But at this point,
The budget is due when? What's the?
to the
June 1st.
county, June 1st. But
That's
then there's,
when we turn in the budget to the county.
Right.
It's not that big a timeline as it relates to you, but
Yeah.
generally before that, we've all already had a conversation before June, for us separately, because I talked to everybody separately before the budget gets turned in. So you will actually know that probably 2-3 weeks in the middle of May. We'll start having budget meetings with each board member
Okay.
separately.
just so he can fill you in on
Sure.
a more detailed budget review. And then we typically have, if needed, a budget workshop in that June to September timeframe.
Okay.
This past year was pretty straightforward, so I don't think we even had a separate workshop, but the year before, I think we had two, so.
Now, there have been years when we met every month, even if
Right.
we didn't need to.
Ain't that the truth?
Well, and if that's what y'all want to do, we
No,
can, but
no,
I don't
no,
think, if
we
there's
don't
nothing
do
on the
that.
agenda, okay, so we'll just table the next meeting date, and it will likely be late spring. And I will just reach out to you guys when we get to that point to get that scheduled.
Okay.
And, sunshine laws require us to give a week's notice, so I need to, well, as we start talking about those dates, you know, we'll have to nail something down, and then once we confirm everybody's availability, I need at least a week.
Okay.
Okay, board comments, I got more things.
Alright.
Administratively, we need to add the new members on bank. So typically what we do is I try to schedule it where only once a month we have checks to sign, so that I'm only tracking people down once a month. Occasionally that doesn't happen. What we have done since I've been on board is Joel and Tracy as the treasurer, Joel as the president. But occasionally somebody's out of town and I need a backup. So I will work with First Federal to figure out what we need to get you guys added to the bank account so that you can be a signer, or you could call with questions or whatever.
So they'll probably ask him to sign a corporate resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we can have a motion to authorize that corporate resolution, then that way when you're ready.
We'll need a resolution and a signature card, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, but
Yeah.
let's go ahead and get this board, as you're constituted now, to authorize that resolution, and that way when it comes forward, he can just sign it without having to reconvene a meeting.
Okay.
So can we get
Yep,
a
we
motion
sure.
to authorize the new members
Sure.
on the bank account?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
A second? Can I second it?
You can, yes.
Okay, I'll second it.
Might be able to mess
All in
with it.
favor, say aye. I never get to second anything anymore. I'm getting shunned a little bit.
Now, Crystal, if they need a date for that authorization, you'll just be able to use tonight's meeting as the authorization on the resolution.
Okay. So I'll work with First Federal and get that, and I don't know if they'll be able, if they do an electronic signature or what, but
It's
I'll
not a
let
big
you
deal for me to
know.
go by there.
Yeah.
I'll make your old times though.
First Federal?
Mhm.
Is it does it require two signatures for the
Every
checks?
check, yeah.
Every check, okay.
Crystal, do you, you get the daily count email?
I do.
Will you respond to Tommy
Uh-huh.
on that email and have him add Brian and Danny to the daily count email? Since
Okay.
you can just copy and paste and put it in there, and then once they're in that chain, then they'll start getting the daily count email, because I think everybody else is. I checked it earlier.
Okay, is there any other administrative stuff we need to do for the new members? Just banking?
Yeah, I think we're set.
Well, thanks, so.
Okay.
So I do want to offer up, have either of you guys ever served on a board that had sunshine law?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so when in doubt, please give me a call.
Yeah.
I'm always available. Crystal's got my cell phone number. I'll circulate it back, text, email. Understand all of our texts are public record. But that's part of what I do. Okay, I'm available to help you navigate any of the buoys. We've got this thing, like I said, we used to meet, like Tracy said, we used to meet every month. We've got this thing running pretty good now. We've got sort of things delineated. If you have any questions about the role of the board, the function of the outfit, what we do now, to the extent you can't really talk to your fellow board members, please call me. Please call Crystal and call Randy. Like, we're happy to educate as much as humanly possible. Big part of your job is to get as much between your ears as you can before you come to a board meeting. So we're all here to help with that. And I just want to say thank you for agreeing to serve. Because I've seen what some of these guys have gone through over the years. It's a lot easier now than it used to be, right?
No doubt.
Okay. And we're going to try to keep it that way. So just when in doubt, give me a call, give Crystal a call, give Randy a call. We'll keep everything straight.
All right, sir. All right. Other board comments?
I just want to say welcome. We really appreciate you guys stepping up. And I want to thank the sheriff's office, and we really appreciate, like I said, you really closely watching the expenses and looking for opportunities to improve things. Much improved by the entire board, or much appreciated.
I'm taking the credit. Chris.
Yeah, thank y'all for all you do, and Danny and Brian, we're so happy to have you and your expertise on this board, buddy.
Starting to scare me now.
I know.
And y'all need to start
Yeah,
thinking about what officers
These
you want to
guys-
hold.
There's expectations?
These guys have done a lot in our community and in Baker County and in the state. and we are honored to have you guys on this board.
We're glad to come on and serve, or I am, I don't know how that
I am
goes.
Well, nothing else? We're gonna go ahead and adjourn. Hope everyone has a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.